G'day, this is Captainoob and this is the Schofield No.2 Revolver. This is a somewhat customizable standalone revolver that actually is a break action weapon. As you can tell, you've got that little mechanism there. And basically what this weapon uses is the flare gun animations. And although they don't really light up and there's a couple of glitches inherent with using those with a revolver type weapon, for the most part they work out just fine. We'll get to those glitches soon. But anyways, we'll get into these attachments, and first of all we've got the receivers. Now at 105, that's the standard receiver there. That's only hitting for 3 less hit points than the calibrated powerful receiver on the pipe revolver pistol there, and we're firing the same rounds as that. So to my mind, this thing sort of bridges the gap between the pipe revolver and the 44 Magnum, because there is quite a big gap in there, and that probably indicates to me that this thing is not going to be a top tier weapon. So yeah, we're not going to treat it as such. We'll just go see what it does. We'll put it up to the advanced receiver there, almost 200 damage, a little bit better fire rate out of that, which is good. Now for the barrels, we'll go for a long barrel there. That increases our hipfire accuracy, very nice. If you want to make this thing good for a VATS build, then the snub nose barrel generally will help you out, and we'll get to that later, but for now we'll move on to the grips. Now you've got a whole bunch of grips here, including the cherry, the comfort, mesquite and walnut. I'm going to equip the mesquite grip because that actually improves our reload speed, and the reload speed on the flare gun, it's not very fast, so yeah, I feel like that's going to benefit us the most, even though we'd get better recoil control out of the walnut grip. And unfortunately, you can't really see the colours until you've come out of that little customization thing, but that's definitely a nice looking texture on that, very, very solid looking indeed. Now for the sights, we will just keep this simple. Let's go for just some standard sights there. This will be our normal heavy hitting revolver with a longer barrel. So yeah, you've also got an option of a short scope, reflex sight and a recon scope, same as you would with the 44 Magnum in the game. And you can make this look a little bit cleaner with the silver finish there, makes it look a little bit more restored. Possibly law breaking for those you'd think this thing would be a little bit more dirty after 200 years, but you know what? People can maintain weapons. Look at the gun runners, they do well. And of course a legendary effect, which we'll be using here since we want to get a little bit more damage out of this feeling. Since we're on very hard, we get that damage penalty. We'll go for the powerful one. I think it's actually called Mighty on the projectile weapons, but yes, it's called the powerful prefix overall. There we go, we get 208 damage out of that. So we'll create a couple others of these made for VATS and maybe some instigating ones for those heavy hitting first type battles, and then we'll get into Gunner's Plaza. Okay, so here we are in Gunner's Plaza with our big iron Schofield revolver there, and yeah, the animations look pretty good there. We are using the one-handed revolver animations just to spice it up a bit, so I guess the animations for the revolver and the flare gun are more related than I first thought. Anyways, looking down the sights there, it's manageable, sure, I can work with those. And when we look at this thing in third person, we'll just aim down sight so Raine's not holding it up. Animations line up okay, and the revolver definitely looks good in third person, very high quality meshes indeed. We'll switch over to our much less pristine looking instigating one with the recon scope, and we'll try to snipe some of these gunners and get a good headshot bonus on those guys. Yep, they're already marching out, so we just need to wait for them to cross my crosshairs, and then I get to kill them as easy as that. So yeah, over 1,000 damage I think for that gunner there. And now that they're in a state of caution where they sort of know where I am, I'm not getting those sneak attack crits anymore, which kind of sucks. We'll move over to our mighty one. We're probably going to get detected in a second, and you can see what this thing does. Oh, hang on, we've got another sneak attack crit there. Good stuff. Now we're detected. Doing the chest shots, only 71 damage, which is not great, especially when we've got a rate of fire that's hampered by the hammer pulling animation every time you fire. So yeah, not convinced by the damage, but we'll press on. Aiming for these headshots ought to make the damage better, so I think that is a way we can sort of artificially boost our damage on this, I suppose. Little bit hard to kill targets at range because of the range on a weapon like this is a little bit limited. You get that damage drop off a little bit more than you'd get with a standard rifle, which makes sense, but hip firing this thing proves to be pretty good. Even with the long barrel you get good hip fire accuracy, which is great. Now to use this thing to the best of its ability, I should probably use this thing in VATS, right? So I've brought out a revolver, or a Schofield revolver with a reflex sight and the lucky prefix of the legendary effects, so that way we'll be able to chain some critical hits as soon as we can do that. There wasn't any other gunners to actually get gun through happening there, which is a shame, But anyways, we'll just go ahead and start critting some of these guys, see what kind of damage we can get up to. There's yet another grenade. Just over 500 damage with a crit. And remember, that is a double damage crit too. Also another grenade, and another. Ah, it's the melee dude. He's got no range attack, so he just pegs grenades at you. Anyways, that kind of sucks. So, with the reflex sight and the stub barrel, we do get greatly decreased VATS action point usage per shot, which is great. So you can kill these guys relatively quickly. And what you just saw there was this weapon's glitch. That's what I said I was going to get to later. And since we're in an open area, I'm going to show that off. So for some reason, when you fire this weapon, this might be a problem with the animations, you sort of shoot to the side. And by that I actually mean you move to the side. Sometimes it's a little bit worse than others, but yeah, you can sort of move through things, which is kind of odd. I've got no idea what causes this, but all you need to do is just stand still and fire this gun. It only happens in third person too, so if you're not a fan of that, then you can easily avoid it. But that's something to note about this weapon. A pretty big game-breaking glitch, to be honest, and it happens in VATS too, since that technically is in third person, so that kind of hinders the experience of this weapon. Nothing to say there, that was only gunner conscript. We'll move on to these gunners in here. See if we can get some gun through action before the fight really begins there. Looks like we've only got... hang on, we've got a couple. Okay. So we'll just line up a few targets. There we go. Every shot past this is a guaranteed crit. It's a bad time to be looking at the ground there, legendary gunner. Let's see how we do. Now, I believe only one of these is going to be a sneak attack crit, but we can hope. Turrets are usually pretty switched on when it comes to detecting you. So yeah, I'd actually expected that one not to be a crit there. But there we go. After that third kill there, or the fourth shot, is immediately crits. So we managed to get 2 crits for the price of none, which is pretty good. And then we'll follow it up some more with some more crits. Although I'm probably not using this one right. I should probably have switched to the lucky one. But it didn't really matter for that gunner there. She actually mutated, which kind of sucks, but we can finish her off with a standard shot there. We'll switch over to our base damage legendary effect here and see what we can do to these gunners. I think I nailed a headshot from there. 209 damage, or 202, sorry. But yeah, as long as you're accurate with this thing and the gunners aren't teleporting before you can actually pull the trigger, then you can do pretty well for this thing. Captain Bridget has shown up, so we've got to pay a little bit more attention to her, and the attention we will pay is a whole lot of VATS criticals. Doesn't appear the glitch happens when you're crouching, so maybe you can limit the effect of the glitch there, the sidestep glitch I could call it, just with crouching and using VATS. And for some reason the sole survivor, as usual, forgets to reload the revolver after the ammo is depleted. Not sure what causes that, but that seems to be poor game design there. Bridget throws her gun at me, so I'll take that to prevent other gunners from picking it up. That is also a radiated Gauss rifle. Nice. We also got a disarm on him before, which is good stuff. Gunslinger rank something procced there, and that helped us out pretty good. Now I've also got a pneumatic, yeah, one of those silent P words, attachment on my jacket here, and that does reduce the severity of staggers there, which is pretty helpful. Don't forget to reload, Raine, come on. The whole game seemed to pause, even that gunner paused as the game was trying to think about how to reload the gun, so that was kind of weird. There we go. Nice headshot on him, finishes him off. We'll move on. One more over here. Looks like she's in a state where she won't really care if I get a sneak attack crit on her. Should have probably put the instigating one on, but sure. Managed to finish her off just fine. For the last gunners, I think putting the instigating one on is a good idea. So even without chems, we've actually made this do alright. I mean, we're not clearing out Gunner's Plaza in record time, but we've done good with the various legendary effects that we've attached to it. That's some sneak attack crits that I like. 1300 damage, very good. So the sounds on this are okay. They don't have a lot of bass in them, which kind of sucks. I kind of like it when the weapons sound really bassy, otherwise it just feels like it's just a crappy recording of the weapon firing. I remember one of the standalone shotgun mods had a custom sound that everyone loved, but there was no bass in it, so it just felt like, ooh. Wow, I just teleported everywhere from that. I just teleported up the stairs, and then I teleported behind the door to kill her. Wow, that's crazy. Okay. Action replay on that, I guess. Custom sound that everyone loved, but there was no bass in it, so it just felt like, ooh. Wow, I just teleported everywhere from that. Okay, almost finish off the gunners in here. Already killed that turret. Nice. Okay, so that was a Schofield No.2 Revolver here in Gunners Plaza. Not a top tier weapon, so I didn't expect it to really perform as such, but it still did a fairly good job there. Just have to make sure my aim is good and proper before I actually use this thing. So, yeah. But since this thing is really not the most optimal thing for taking out any monsters, I decided to let them live today. So yeah, Gunners Plaza is where I shall call it. So if you'd like to see this weapon in your game, check out the links in the description. If there is an Xbox One port, which maybe there is, I haven't checked yet, it'll be down there in the description below too. And I'll also link the one-handed revolver mod in the description too, because those animations, they're pretty good, even though I feel like you're holding the revolver way too high there. You could probably lower that down, Raine. So yeah, also I'll link the Raine companion mod in the description too. Thank you for watching, guys.